What's going on, everybody? Slang Dutchman here, and today we do a little job on the Volvo because, as you might know, when we go to events, and especially if it's a multiple day event or just camping, we camp in this thing with a little mattress in the back and everything, and we bring it to events. So it needs some love. We had a problem with the cooling, that it was pissing out there at the water pump. Now I'm not gonna address that now because it's manageable. But I need to figure out what's the best solution for that before I tear everything down, and I just have this afternoon. So if I run into any problems or issues, I'm kinda fucked because this car needs to go out and about tomorrow again. But I just fill it up a little bit with water. It's now summer, so it's no problem. So I can just fill it up with water, and then when winter comes, we have it solved and we can fill it up with normal coolant. But for now, as you can see, because the car got very hot, and it, like, you see how nasty it is. This thing burst because it was overheating, because the radiator was leaking. Replaced the radiator one day before we went to Honda Euromeet. Everything worked, but I saw this and I thought this was a little bit, how you doing? A little bit sketchy. Now I can get a new hose, but I didn't know where to source one. And I didn't want to really source one because I had a better solution, because the rest of the pipe is still good. It's just this edge with this clamp that is just shit. So if I take a little bit off, I can shove it up further and clamp it again. Maybe then I don't have the length, but there's where this comes in. This is a little adapter that goes in between the middle of the pipe. So you have basically this much of extra length in the pipe. That is gonna accept a little sensor, and then with the gauge for water temp. Because even though this thing kinda exploded and we never noticed it, but it did, it pushed all the water out because it was boiling, the gauge never showed otherwise. It just stayed up and like, you know the meme, I'm fine. And now we just want to put an extra gauge in, so now I can cross-reference that gauge with the original one and see what's going on and which one is more accurate. Probably the new one. So that's when we're gonna put in between, but because I just drove here, it's a little bit warm still, so I'm gonna leave that because I don't want to burn my hands. And meanwhile, because we camp in it, we charge our phones, we charge other stuff, so it's handy to have a little volt gauge. So I have another one that I'm gonna do first. This is a little volt gauge that just shows me exactly how much volt there's still in the battery, because you need a solid, what, 12 to start at least. I'm looking at my buddy Jelmer here, who's working on the scooter. And then how are we going to install it? I thought the dashboard and everything was nice and clean, and I have my phone as GPS in the middle and stuff, so I didn't want to fill it up with gauges. So I went the riser way, and I got a 2-pot gauge mount that just goes to the pillar on the side here. So basically, if you sit in the car, you view there. So let's just start with the volt gauge, which is nothing more than just one little wire here for the light in the gauge, and then there's a plus and a minus that you just connect to a power source. Probably somewhere behind the radio of a 12-volt source, that as soon as you put the contact on, everything goes on. And then that's basically it for the volt gauge. It's very simple. So I pulled away half the dash. We got the spaghetti bag out with all spare wires. I've got some wires here laying around. Now I want to route a wire through here, up over this, coming up, hopefully maybe here in the corner, because I don't want to really drill in the dash or go a hard way and go all the way. I can tuck it in between here or something, because this thing is almost ready to come off. So yeah, that's where we're gonna fit it. Also, I've treated this with a heat gun. I don't know if you can see that angle, but I can now put this on basically, and if I just put one Parker in there, I think that is acceptable, especially if you compare it to an OEM one, because this one is original. As you can see how this is fitting, it's a no. This is just a big no-go. So a little bit of heat gun treatment, and we got a nice, way nicer flusher fit. Now I can do a little bit more heat gun treatment, but for now at least I'm gonna route the gauges up, make sure that everything works and fits, and then I'm gonna actually do it right for once. I'll strip these two, I'm gonna solder them in the right way and then tape them up. So let me just do that quickly. Route the wires. I mean, it's just 1 and 2 bolts. Take this panel off, put the wire there somewhere, maybe a zip tie to secure it, put the panel back on, and done. And then wire it up, which is actually fairly easy, because they all have the same pattern depending on what gauge you have, but they are the same, but different ones are used. In my case, plus minus, that's all I have to wire up for this. And there is the 2 cables coming out is a light, so those are going to be connected to the plus and the minus, so it has a light. And then the other gauge is going to be linked off of this in series, taking the plus and the minus, so it has power as well and light. And then I only have to run one single signal wire going all the way from here on the bonnet into the plug that we're gonna do next. But let me wire this up so we have the basics, and then we can go under the bonnet, fit up the temperature gauge, and see if everything works. Okay, so I was in a rush because my buddy Jelmer needs to go home, and I picked him up, so I'm also obligated to drive him home, of course. So we installed the gauges. Just one big screw there in the middle, but you basically can't even see it, made it black. I think this is not a bad look. And then under the bonnet, we pulled that one signal wire here, goes all the way here, and then this is where it was crusty. We cut it off, shoved it off a little bit further. The hose inside is a little bit cracked as well, so that needs to be replaced anyway. But hey, we got the sensor in between in the middle, so everything is filled up. So I think this can be closed. That's done. And then give you guys some ASMR peeling off the foil. Wow. And now, because I haven't tested it yet, well, I tested the wires but haven't seen the result. So if I now put in my keys, it should give me a reading of volts and temperature. Nice. Volts is at 12, all good. Temperature is low. Nice. I would say job well done. I'm gonna turn it off, it's off. Nice. So this is my view in the Volvo now. I didn't like the gauges here in the middle or this because the dash is quite flat, and already having my phone here is terrible. And I don't like my phone here because then when I need to use the charger, it needs to go wire all the way here and there, and it's not. This is easy and quick, but now with the gauges there, I think this is a good mod. So all in all, I think the gauges were €6 a piece out of China, because you know what can go wrong with these gauges? They're simple, easy. €6 a pop. And then the cover was maybe €2-3, the plastic. That came with the sensor, so only not the wires and the little shoes and everything that I put on. But other than that, fairly cheap. Under 20 bucks. 2 gauges. And you can, if you want, of course, add oil temperature, oil pressure. I did that on the E36. So if you're like, how do you install those? You can scroll back on my channel, because everything I've done on my E36 is sort of covered in a video. So how to wire up gauges, it's all in there with oil pressure, oil temperature, stuff like that. For now, I'm gonna leave this video now, because I need to go home, bring my buddy home, Jelmer, head home, edit this video and pump it out for you guys. So this is the Friday upload. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Check us out in the Discord below. We have got a very nice car community going on. Have meetups, other weird stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!
Whether you like